And Kirstie, if you're watching this by any chance, shame on you. You should be embarrassed of yourself. I should put this at the beginning of the video in case you do watch a couple minutes of this video, because I'm going to tweet it to you. You guys, Kirstie has blocked me, so as many people who can send this to Kirstie, please tweet this. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to start off today's video with some really good news. I just had a meeting with a really cool talent agent who decided to sign me. So I have a new agent for TV, film, and commercials. So I'm really excited because for a while I was trying to debate whether or not I wanted to get back into acting again. I have been kind of trying to figure out like what's my purpose in life and what do I enjoy doing, and I really feel that it is to entertain people, and I love filmmaking, I love making videos for you guys, so it's another opportunity for me. We'll see where it goes, you know. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because a lot of you have been asking me about how I'm doing or what I'm doing in regard to my work situation. So to be honest, I've been surviving off of YouTube and my ad revenue, so I do want to be able to have something else. I want to get back into hairdressing, but again, I know I have carpal tunnels. That's going to have to be kind of put on the back burner right now, so hopefully some acting jobs will come around the corner. So I just want to share that with you guys, and also that I just started my suppressive merchandise store. So if you go to suppressivemerchandise.com, I have a whole line of different anti-Scientology t-shirts. So I just launched that about a day or two ago. So if you guys are interested, go to suppressivemerchandise.com, wear one of my anti-Scientology t-shirts when you're going grocery shopping or to the mall or wherever, and let others know about the abuses of the Church of Scientology. So I've been kind of outraged, I guess we can say today, because Kirstie Alley went on a little bit of a Twitter spree last night about the Las Vegas shooter and the Las Vegas shooting. Now, Kirstie Alley has blocked me on Twitter. So I actually had to go and look up Kirstie's page without being signed in on my account, but I was hearing a lot of whispers and a lot of people have been writing to me to discuss Kirstie Alley's tweets about the Las Vegas shooting. So let me put in her tweets here first before we discuss.
Side effects of violence and suicide.
Now this was a horrific shooting where 500 people were injured, about 60 people passed away, and Kirstie Alley started going on her Twitter spree. In my opinion, it was kind of insensitive, trying to just... Who was Kirstie Alley, number one, to be discussing the Las Vegas shooting? And necessarily, who is Kirstie Alley to be saying whether or not this guy was on psychiatric drugs or not? And what does Kirstie Alley know? Like, does Kirstie Alley have a medical degree? Did Kirstie Alley go to medical school? Did we just not know about that? Like, while she was on set of Cheers, was she also enrolled at, you know, a medical school? Like, I just don't understand, you know, Kirstie Alley and her, and a lot of other Scientology celebrities do this as well, whether it's Tom Cruise trying to educate Matt Lauer about psychiatry or about Brooke Shields being on antidepressants. These Scientology celebrities don't really know what they're talking about. And it doesn't mean that there aren't like some level of truths about like dangers of psychiatric drugs or any of that. Like, I'm not discounting that. There are, say, side effects where someone could feel suicidal, for example, or, you know, have weight gain or something. Like, there are different side effects to these drugs. And I do bet that a lot of these drugs, you know, could have an adverse effect on people. But I was talking with Jeff probably a couple months ago or a year ago or something, but it kind of stuck in my head because I was thinking about it, because I've always kind of not really sure like what side to kind of take on this sort of debate. And I'm not saying that I take Scientology side or I take medicine side, because I do feel like there is a use for these type of drugs, psychotropic or other sorts of medical drugs. But I don't think they necessarily have to be used in all cases. Like, if someone's a little bit depressed here or there, like, maybe you don't need it. But on the other side, like, maybe you need it just to help get you through a rough time. Now, I get it if you're on, say, antidepressants. Like, in order to get up out of bed or to do something, there are people who need these drugs. And these drugs can save people's lives. If you really are about to, say, end your life, you need an antidepressant. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that, you know, just because it's a drug or it has some side effects that you have to discount it. Like, yeah, maybe start off with talk therapy, but if it gets to the point where it's interfering with you and your survival on this planet, you know, it sounds so Scientology to say it like that, but in order to be able to operate or be a normal person, it's important to be able to operate as a normal person and get up out of bed and not be moping around. And Scientology's auditing isn't a solution to mental health. I'm sorry, L. Ron Hubbard did not know any bit more than, say, I did about mental health. He just researched and pulled from different people, whether it's Freud or from whoever. He pulls different ideas or concepts and kind of try to create his own thing. I have received Scientology auditing. I have done some of the Scientology bridge. And yeah, I've had some wins, I guess you can say, here and there, but to what degree and at what cost? Is it worth being in a cult? A lot of people ask me, is it worth maybe going in and doing a couple courses and leaving and getting like little good parts? And it's really not worth supporting an organization, giving whether it's $50 or $50,000. You don't want to be under the control of a dictatorship. But anyways, this video is about Kirstie Alley. So I was talking about this with Jeff, and he was saying, like, these people are already mentally ill. They're taking, say, a psychotropic drug, and then, say, they go on like a shooting spree or something like that. That person was already mentally deranged, so to speak, to have to be on those drugs. So how are we necessarily saying that it's the cause or the fault of the drug when that person might have had mental illness to begin with? And it's not like these drugs can actually cure a person or anything like that. I've never taken like an antidepressant or something to really be able to say like how it makes you feel. But from others that I've known who were even in Scientology and left and said, oh, I take an antidepressant. I'm like, oh, you know, for someone to leave and be able to say, accept psychiatric help is a big thing, in my opinion, because you're so brainwashed, you know, while you're in Scientology that these drugs are going to completely destroy your life. And these people like Kirstie Alley, you know, are preaching what CCHR, which is a Citizens Commission on Human Rights, it's a front group of Scientology. They have like the Industry of Death Museum in Hollywood. And they're going to be the first ones to say, like, if you go through that Industry of Death Museum today, they're going to say,
international
like,
drug
these drugs
regulatory
are,
warnings on psychiatric
for
drugs,
example,
citing
causing
effects
the
of
shooting
mania,
in Las
hostility,
Vegas.
violence,
And I actually saw some messages from CCHR
and dozens
about
of high-profile
the shooting and how
killings
psychotropic
tied to
drugs
psychiatric
caused
drug
this
use.
shooting.
There is yet to be a federal investigation on the link between psychiatric drugs and acts of senseless violence.
Now, as I've read on the news, there's absolutely no evidence that this guy was on psychotropic medications or any sorts of drugs that were causing him to do this. And in my personal opinion, yeah, some of these drugs may have different side effects, whatever, but from when I've talked to others about it, you just kind of have to find what drug works best for you. Not every chemical is going to work for everyone. What may be a miracle drug for me may not work for you. And when it comes to the mind, since it's so different than the body, like if you have like an infection or something, you're taking antibiotic, whatever, it's so different when it comes to mental health. And yeah, there really probably isn't like a study on how to tell about, you know, brain chemistry or having an imbalance and that sort of thing. But I do think that, like for me, I didn't take any of these type of drugs, but I've been in such a dark depression, as you guys have known and have seen it, you know, on camera and that sort of stuff. You can't get up out of bed, you can't do anything, and you just don't have any motivation to live. Like, even Jeff was like, you should probably take an antidepressant, like, to get you through that sort of period, but I kind of bounced back out of it, so I didn't necessarily do that. I mean, I want to talk to a therapist for, like, my lingering depression and post-traumatic stress and different things that I normally struggle with. And I have gone to therapy for a very long time, so I know that it could help. But Scientology wants you to discount all of it. All therapy, all drugs, all of that are evil. They're not the answers. They're going to evaluate for you. They're going to like spin you into your head, and you're going to get even worse. It's not true, and people who are suffering are going to be afraid leaving Scientology to get the help because they're going to think that, you know, these people are going to electroshock them, which isn't the case. And people like Kirstie Alley and Tom Cruise, John Travolta, any of these big celebrities, they've been in Scientology for 20, 30 years, and they don't necessarily know the other side because Scientology tells you you can't look. You can't do research on mental health. And we're going to tell you what it really is. It's almost like this fake news stuff with Donald Trump. Like, they're going to just say everything else in the world we have to discount. You can only listen to us as Scientologists. And it's worked for you, right? So why wouldn't we be, you know, why would we be lying to you about this, about the mental health sort of stuff? Why would you go to see a therapist? So they really do have very sophisticated ways to make you think that they're, you know, they're the answer to everything. So Kirstie Alley also made some other mentions following up this. Basically, someone wrote to her and said, "Did you really say that? Sit down. 58 people are dead." Florida-based ABC reporter Derek Shore told Alley. And then she said, "Yes, I did say it. It happens tone a common denominator in shooters, one that didn't exist before the 80s. Not my opinion, statistic based. Then later on, she tried to like cover up her back and be like, oh yes, I have sympathy for the victims and that sort of thing. Again, like I said, these drugs aren't necessarily, like Scientology thinks, like implanting you to have like this killer mentality. And even read something on Facebook and someone said, as a Scientologist, they were told that if you're around someone on antidepressants, they can basically turn on you at any moment and just kill you. So Scientologists are implanting all this fear into people. And they really think that these drugs are basically causing you to, just act psychotic. Now, if this was the case, yeah, maybe there was like 5 people who committed a shooting who may have been on psychotropic drugs. But think of the hundreds of thousands, about millions of people who are on these sort of drugs and live a normal life, or took it to get them out of a dark place where they could have lost their lives or actually have been in a darker place. Would you rather be in the grave or take an antidepressant? So that's the thing I think many people need to think about. And someone like Kirstie Alley and those type of people, like I just really hate that they have this platform where they can go on and make these sort of claims that aren't based in anything other than their own Scientology propaganda logic that's been implanted into them for, tens of 20 or not 30, 40 years, however long these guys have been in. So, it really does make them look crazy when they go on these Twitter sprees, for example, whatever. But, all day I've been thinking about it and how much it's irritating to me because, say, for example, with me, like I said, I haven't taken these sort of drugs, but I always thought, like, when people say, take an antidepressant, like, the first thought is, like, never, back in the day, because, people, at least me, I always would think as a Scientologist that these drugs are going to, like, basically turn me into this, like, zombie killer. And from what I hear from other people, it's not even, you barely notice the effect other than you start feeling happier. So in the future, if I did go through a depressive episode again, I wouldn't necessarily discount it just because, there are people who have received help from these sort of medications, and it's no different than like breaking your arm or something like that. Like taking medicine for your mental health. I think Scientology is so behind on the times, and you have to think like you can't be afraid to get treatment, say for mental health. It's just the same as any other sort of illness or anything that you go through. Mental health isn't something that you should, think, oh, it's not real or it's not proven or whatever. Like, if you are depressed or you want to kill yourself, that's all the proof you need that mental health is something that you have to take care of and you have to look at, and it's just as real of a sickness as anything else. So let Kirstie know that you stand by me and you stand by other ex-Scientologists in exposing Scientology as a fraud, and also for their anti-psychiatry stance. There's nothing wrong with psychiatry, the mental health, industry. Yeah, a couple things have happened maybe in the past, maybe 40, 50 years ago, they might have electroshocked someone, but for the most part, these people do want to help. And Scientology is not helping people. They are driving people to bankruptcy, to lose their homes, their families are getting broken apart, the technology's being changed and squirreled, and you're going back down the bridge and redoing steps because Miscavige is greedy. You donate money and it goes right up to him. Sea Org members are getting abused. People just in general are getting physically, mentally, spiritually abused. Like, we all know all the stuff that goes on inside Scientology. So, again, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you like videos like this and you support what I do, please check out patreon.com/StephenMango. Your pledges to my channel allow me to be able to make videos like this and being able to continue to spread the words to others. Also, check out suppressivemerchandise.com. Click the subscribe button, also the thumbs up on this video if you like this video, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much for watching.